Hello, in this video we're going to talk about how to earn or how to show mastery on a single learning outcome. There are several learning outcomes where you're going to need to show mastery in order to earn a passing grade in this course. So we're going to just start with a single learning outcome, and you'll just repeat this process for all of them. So let's just say you're working on the very first learning outcome. Let's call it learning outcome number 1. The first thing you're going to do is complete all of the readings related to that learning outcome. So check the website for whatever readings are required and then complete them. Make sure you take notes, very clear notes in your workbook or your notebook so that you can use them in the next step, which is to work on the homework. So these are your practice problems based on those readings, and your goal there is to get 50% or more of the points on the homework to unlock the quiz. If you do not get 50% or until you get 50%, you'll need to continue to work on homework until the quiz and other mastery checks will open up for you. But once you do that, you'll attempt the quiz, and if you get 2 or more on a quiz attempt, then the later assignments will open up for you. If you do not get 2 or more, you want to go back and review the homework in review mode, in practice mode, regenerate problems, and prepare, study, and ask questions so that you are ready for the second quiz attempt. Your highest score on your quiz attempts are retained in your grade, so as soon as you score a high enough grade to move on, that's the grade that will move forward. Once you do get that 3 or higher, then that gets you a check, so to speak, on that quiz. You're done with that quiz, and you can move on to the learning mastery check. Now, the quizzes are really designed as your first chance to show some initial mastery. The problems are right off the homework. They're very familiar, so if you do the homework, you're going to be fine. The learning mastery checks, on the other hand, are a little bit potentially different. The questions may be slightly reworded, or they might be a little bit different, because the learning mastery check is designed to see whether or not you've retained or extended your mastery that you've already shown previously. So both of these are timed as well. The quizzes are going to give you more minutes, more time, because they're your first attempt at mastery, than the learning mastery checks. Those will still give you enough time to finish as long as you're prepared, but they are timed just to make sure you can do these things in a reasonable amount of time. Now, once you pass the learning mastery check with a 3 or higher, you check that off on your progress sheet, and you could move on to this next step. If you don't pass, again, you'll have to review homework, ask questions, maybe use a token if necessary to get another attempt past the 2 that are provided. So you want to keep doing that until you do pass that learning mastery check with a 3 or higher, which is evidence of showing mastery. If you do pass with a 3 or higher, then you'll need to check to see whether or not there is a writing mastery check. Not all learning outcomes have a writing mastery check. So if there is not one available, then basically you're done. Congratulations, you have showed mastery on that learning outcome, and you can then move on to the next one. However, if there is a writing mastery check, you're going to want to attempt that. Once again, this is timed. It's usually 1 at most 2 written questions where you will have to neatly write up your work and then upload it. It is very important that you read the scoring guide and the rubric that will be provided for every single one of those before you open the assignment and before you begin it. As you work on that writing mastery check, make sure you look at that scoring guide and that rubric to make sure that you are meeting all of the criteria to be able to earn mastery on that written mastery check. If you get 3 or more on that one, then you are done with that learning outcome completely. If you do not get 3 or more, then You'll need to look at the feedback that the instructor gives to you, revise that attempt, that first attempt, and then request another attempt with the token form. And of course, you need to have a token available, so make sure you have one available. Once you revise your first attempt, showing that you've been able to identify what your mistakes are and fix them, then you will be given another attempt at a writing mastery check, and the problem will be refreshed with new numbers for you to complete it another time, and then for you to try to get that 3 or higher, which gets you that check for showing mastery. So that's basically what the process looks like. Every single learning outcome will behave the same way. You start with readings, you do homework problems. Once you do enough homework problems, you can attempt the first mastery check kind of thing, which is the quiz. And those are a little easier, so to speak. Once you finish that, then you try the slightly harder learning mastery check. If there's a writing mastery check, you would attempt that. Once you move all the way down through this diagram and end up with the yes arrows leading to, or the arrows, whatever arrows leading to this green box, you then know you're done with that learning outcome until the final exam, and then you move on to the next learning outcome, maybe learning outcome number 2. So you go through that through the entire quarter, making sure that you show mastery on as many of these assignments as possible. The more you show mastery on, the higher your base grade can be. And then when you get to the very end of the quarter, there will be that final mastery check, which is like your final exam, which will be one last check of all of your learning to that date. Please, 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 as you're doing all of this, keep everything organized in a workbook, in a binder, whatever it is, because you want to be able to go back and look at what you're doing if you don't pass a quiz or a learning mastery check. And you also want to be able to go back and look at all of that to prepare for the final exam, which is called the final mastery check.